Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We got a great show lined up, but first, our weather, always brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. Some good programs they have going there. So always go by and check them out when you have an opportunity. High today, 88, low 79, and our water temperature now, listen, it dropped 3 degrees yesterday down to 85. I know you think I have an over-fascination with this water temperature, but it is fascinating when it drops 3 degrees. But if you remember, I told you the last couple of days, it's just been almost too hot. At 88, that's just way above even the high point. So anyway, about down to 85. That's about normal this time of year. So we have one of those little thermals that came through with really hot water pushed up there now, sort of level out now. So anyway, take a look at our river readings brought to us by the fine folks up at Sand Hill Seafood, just past Bozeman School on Highway 77. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown reading of 7.2 with a good steady drop to it. It's about to get right. There's going to be some good fishing this weekend on the Apalachicola River all throughout the system, from the dam all the way down to into Apalachicola Bay, Humphrey Slough and Bierman Slough and over there at Owl Creek and all those fascinating places. Okay, the reading at Choctawhatchee at Caryville is 4.5, and actually looking for it to bump up a little bit, which has got to be some rain they've had north of us, but it's not a big bump, so Choctawhatchee River's in good shape too. So a good summer readings on those. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn right here on 23rd Street. We're looking at a high tide this morning at 9:27 and a low tide at 8:30. So really good situation there. Marine forecast is coming out of west at about 10. Again, I'll remind you about the thunderstorms. Mainly, last week we had those morning thunderstorms. This week the pattern has gone more to the summer pattern we always have, is afternoon thunderstorms. And all of our friends, inland, all you folks on the inside of, within past 20 miles of that line, y'all are getting a higher percentage. Like if they said 50% here, it's going to be 70% inland because that sea breeze hitting that wall right there. So that's always been a pattern here. So we're right in the middle of it right now. So just be aware of those thunderstorms and all. But the great thing about those thunderstorms, it cools things down good. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I was just talking to Jeff about our feeding times and all. It's sort of been odd because it's been in the middle of the day. We'll talk about that later on today's time. But yesterday I had my grandson with me. The feeding times right in the middle of the day, and we saw 2 or 3 different animals. Saw a raccoon right flat up in the middle of the day over on our neighbor's lot, just walking around, just trying to find something to eat. So there's a lot to be said now. We talk about it over and over again about these feeding times. All right, let's go into some pictures. So good about sending me pictures, and I pick some up at other places. This right here. Brandon Davis, I did a good video, Brandon, one of my former students. Brandon is an excellent fisherman. Okay, finally got back out on the water. It's been too long. He's been real busy, as most young people get real busy. He's doing an internship at a Navy base now. Brandon didn't show his face, but you see where he caught it. A big bull red, in the middle of the day too. All right. We showed this the other day, and they missed it. I'm going to show this again, okay? This is that big flounder, okay, from Kendra McDaniel. Watch out, guys. My friend caught this, okay? Donna caught it, but Kendra sent it. But anyway, this is in the Mexico Beach area, and that's not Photoshop, folks. That's caught on a Zebco. You can see the reel right there. Look at the bottom of the old Zebco reel. And that is just an amazing size flounder. So good job, Donna, okay? And then right here, Bob Bilsma, Levon's Lighting Center. Bob, he fishes a lot. He's a really good outdoorsman, a good mess of snapper. Folks, they're catching a lot of snapper. Not catching a whole lot of big ones, but just that good, what we call a good eating size on a daily basis. That was with Casey Richardson in Apalachicola. And the thing about this, they actually went out in the afternoon and got back at dark. Okay, this is my buddy Billy Grantham up there from Sneeze. He took his grandson. Listen, they're fishing up north. In fact, let me see, up in Newburyport, Maine, on the Merrimack River. Okay, catching stripers. This is with his grandson. It looks cool up there, doesn't it? All right, then here's a picture. And you can see the water pretty and blue and all, a good breeze and everything, but it must be chilly. Right there in Maine. That's a long way from Jackson County now, Billy. You need to get back home, catch some of these fish. A couple things here I'll talk about later. I want to show you this. Jay Moody sent this. This is a bad day for the dove. Anyone else feel like they're seeing way more hawks these days? He actually saw this, and what it is, it's a hawk that just captured a dove. And that's fascinating. He lives up there. The Moody's live up there close to the golf course up there in Lynn Haven, but not on the golf course, but they're in position. They can see this. That's a great shot, Jay, but that's just nature unfolding right there in front of you, okay? And Adam Colburn sent this in to Panama Fishing. I hit the beach this evening with my girls. My baby Presley found a pump hole. Now, isn't that cool for this time of the year? In late June, we're almost in July, catching 3 nice pompano. And they're still here, folks. The whole wave didn't go through, but that's some good pictures right there. So a combination of redfish, pompano, and trout and everything being caught on a regular basis here. So that's a good situation there. I do have a couple reports from the FWC. I'll just go and read them to you. One thing, the scallop season is going to open July 1st now in Franklin County and Northwest Taylor County and Levy County, Hernando County. That's down in the Big Bend area. We showed you that on the map before, but it's going to be opening July 1st there, but not in Gulf County, so don't get confused and say you heard scallop season open. It is open, but not in St. Joe. So be aware of that date right there. Also, triple tail and sheephead, a lot of changes on July 1st in our fishing community. The triple tail, the minimum size limit now will increase to 18 inches. I think that's a good rule. I think that's a good move right there. And down on the sheephead, and we've talked about this before, it becomes effective on July 1st, which is going to be this coming weekend, okay? The minimum size, the recreational bag limit will be lowered to 8 fish per person per day. And then recreation can only catch 50 per trip in March and April. So anyway, the big deal for recreational is the triple tail is 18 inches. And we don't do a lot of triple tail fishing, but the folks that do need to be aware of that. Okay, so that's our notice there. And now also, one more notice, gag grouper closing in that 4-county Gulf region, Franklin, Wakulla, Jefferson, and Taylor on July 1st, okay? Last harvest date will be July 30th. Now it's going to reopen on September 1st. That's going to be a really good time to reopen there. So just trying to keep you updated on these FWC rules, and Travis is good about informing us and all, but also just be aware of those rules and all. We've got scallop season opening in the Big Bend, but not here in the Panhandle. All right, let's go ahead and take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, folks. Glad you're with us this morning. Sitting here talking, you got to change with the times. You can't keep doing things in an old-fashioned way because of technology and different situations and all. And I find myself in that situation with floundering, and you guys from my generation know exactly what I'm talking about. This is an old floundering light that we used for many years, okay? Now that bulb, they say they don't make them anymore. The old Westinghouse company made the original ones, but I think they might be started making them. They quit making them for a long time. But this is what the old timers originally, when they went flounder gigging, they would actually take a torch and light it, a piece of lighter knot, and just before flashlights or anything, this back in the early 1900s, they just walking on the water at nighttime. One person would hold a torch, and one of them have a little spear, a little one-pronged spear. And it has evolved over the years, and then this came out for a long time. And this is what we do. We used to get these at an old hardware store called Fisher Stinson right here on Airport Road. And y'all know the place went out of business. Everybody retired. But anyway, this is what we had. It hung in the water, and of course you put a shade over it, and then it would flare out. 1,000 lume, okay? And I was just stuck on these for a long time. And then, as technology advanced, the LEDs, the technology in LED lighting, and really just became phenomenal, really. So right here, I'm going to show you this right here. This is a new flounder. Now, some people, this is we're talking about looms and brightness. That's 1,000 looms. this is 2 sections right here. So it's going to hang off my boat, and it's V-shaped, it'll hang off the boat. And this is actual light right here, okay? Can you see that's an LED light here, and that's it right there. It will put out 6,000 looms. Now, does that put everything in comparison? Now, you can get a single. A lot of people just get 2 or 3 single ones and put them on the bow of the boat. I've decided to get a V-shaped one so you can see it will point out this way, so hopefully I'll have enough light out in front of me. I'm really excited about getting back into floundering. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. But what's interesting, my grandson Mason is here, and I'm letting him design it. He a little engineered project of his, and we're working on it right now. Today, hope to finish it up. And also the batteries. You know, we used to take those big old, for this bulb, we had a big old heavy marine batteries, you know, and how heavy they were back then. Sometimes we'd put 2 on the boat because we just floundered a long time and one battery would go dead. But now the batteries are even smaller. And they're saying, I've got a good friend there in Southport who is an expert at this, and I was talking to him about it. He said that the motorcycle batteries, some small batteries, will run this for several hours. So you get a couple of those, so that's a lot lighter weight in doing that. So I will let you know as progress along. But if you're interested in it, these LED lights, these are Jerry's LEDs that come out of Louisiana or Texas or something, but they have some locally also. So anyway, I want to pass that on to you. This is progress. It's a work in progress, okay? And we're getting ready mainly. Late summer and fall is really the peak of the year for flounder gigging. But right now, you can go out now at summer nights and get a few. And especially, you got to pay attention to those feeding times when they're moving around and working out of those channels and all, okay? So now let's, with that being said, I want to get to the situation. We've been talking about fishing with live bait this summer because the water temperature has gets so warm so quick. As the sun comes up, it heats up, and as artificials, a lot of times it's hard to food them with artificial because they don't really want to, there's so much bait fish out there. And let me say this too about bait fish. You want to make sure, just because you see a lot of bait fish out there, doesn't necessarily mean the other fish are there, but when you see the bait fish become active, when you see the top of water bust open and all, then that's when they're being pursued. So, you know, situation where you're, look at all the bait fish. That's good. Okay, but now, oh man, look at all the bait fish jumping. That's better. So I understand those 2 concepts. But here's, I've just got some pictures, and I'll show you some live later on, but I just want to make sure this is one of our top baits, people that fish with live bait. I'm not a live bait fisherman per se, but this time of year I will. The croaker, okay? Let me tell you about what a croaker, where I really was so convinced on a croaker. I was actually fished with a good friend of mine from college. He and I were really good friends in college. He grew up down there around the Daytona Beach area outside a place, little fishing community like Southport would be to Panama City. He grew up there and then went back there, became a principal and all, but he loved to fish. He was a fishing guide in the summertime. He fished a lot in the summertime. And he wanted me to come down there. We stayed in contact. In fact, he even drove up here from Daytona to my retirement. That's what a good friend he is, a guy named Bill Meade. I went fishing with him several years back, probably long ago that now, but we just spent a weekend fishing. We had the best time, and we fished Mosquito Lagoon. And he told me that, he said, Winston, he said, we're not going fishing if we can't find any croakers. I realized then his sincerity in getting that particular bait. I said, what about some pinfish and some bull minnows? He said, nope. He said, we're going to fish for croakers. And that was his game plan. Of course, he knew we were going to find some that time of year. It was in June. And we went to the bait shop, and he actually went to the second bait shop to get them, but he knew that he could find them. So we took the croakers out, and we caught some fine trout. And we were talking. I said, Bill, what do you think, why do these work so well compared to other bait fish? He said, it's simple. He said, a noise they make, croaking and all, he said, what is, these big females and all will be guarding their bedding area or something, just like bass, and that old croaker will get up there aggravating them and all, and they'll attack them. They're not really attacking them for food, they're attacking them for protection and all. So that's an interesting theory right there. And it made a believer out of me that particular day. So I'd like to get back down there and fish with him some. That's the croaker, okay? So be aware what a croaker does. And of course, this is one probably the most prevalent fish we have here, the pinfish. And this is a lot of folks fish with this. Be careful, see those fins sticking up, and they'll fin you big time. Even they might be small and all, but understand they're really good bait. On these, you can hook them there in the tail, okay, or right there behind the dorsal fin, hook them there, or a lot of folks just hook them through the lips. So that's 2 places to hook them. But a croaker and a pinfish are 2 of the top bait. Of course, then what we have, this is what we call they call it a killifish, but it's what we call our bull minnow. This is excellent for flounder fishing, okay? They're long and streamlined, and they're just an excellent bait right there for flounder fishing, all right? And of course, pigfish, they've come along, okay, pinfish are very similar to the croaker. And then the mullet, the little small mullet, especially now for bigger fish, in the bay and all, it's hard to catch a trout and all with them, but you can catch them. But that striped mullet, little baby mullet, a really good bait. I know the guys enjoy that. Of course, then we get another little croaker and all, okay, a spot fish, and then menhaden, all right, what we call a pogie. And we have a lot of pogies around here that have a spot on them, and right there up there behind the eye. So that's a really good one too, the menhaden. In fact, the bay is just full of those right now. And then this is what we call a little shad. A lot of shad out there. The good thing about them, they're real shiny, and they're really good. They don't last long though. I mean, they'll die really quick unless you got some stuff with them. Then move along, what we call a little glass minnow. You can sort of see through them, okay? And again, they just don't last long, but they're really good if you catch them right away and fish with them, all right? So that takes care of I've been wanting to talk about the bait fish and all. We'll catch some live later on during the summer and show you the ones we're talking about, but that's just sort of an introduction to fishing with bait fish. Let's take our final break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I'm going to surprise you today. Now, I want to get up and give you a little bit of fishing report. Tomorrow, I'm going to have Brad Stevens on, so I won't be on the screen. We'll just sit here at a table and talk about it. I do a lot of things going on. I do want to mention right away, they're catching those big black drum over there around the Deer Point Dam. We had showed those before right in here. They're catching them with live crab. And now, just remember, if you're going to catch them and eat them, that's great. Go ahead and keep them. If you're not going to do anything with them, just let them go. They're not good to eat. Some people say they are good to eat, but I promise you they're not that good to eat. Now, you might can carve a little piece out like that and all that big old drum, but they're catching a lot of black drum right now at nighttime usually, so be aware of that. Also, keep in mind too, we were talking about all this weather and all these bayous. If you get up in those bayous now, get up in there early in the morning. We talk about it over and over again. There's a lot of bayous up in Mill Bayou and all these bayous here. They have houses around them, but they're still good fishing early in the morning because no one is stirring about and all. So keep that in mind all throughout the bay system. And like I say, I'll start here. And one of the things too that's important to keep in mind too, we're gonna fish in this area too. All this area in here is really good. Again, the wind has been almost non-existent as far as actually being a factor like we usually have. Go over in Choctawhatchee Bay, and if you just want to go on a boat ride, a great boat ride is going from West Bay, just cruising through here to Choctawhatchee Bay, go to the bridge, turn around, fish around the bridge, just cruise back. A lot of times you don't want to fish 100% of the time. You just want to go ahead and fish enough to catch some fish, and a lot of people just enjoy the boat ride. Surf fishing, you saw those pompano. I just showed those pompano. They're still catching pompano this time of year, but they're going to be in holes. Keep that in mind too. So much goes on with the heat and all. A lot of fish are going to be cooling down these little deep indentations in the water. In St. Joe Bay, that's those bomb holes we talk about. So the pass will be good this weekend. It's going to be crowded, but this is the weekend before the 4th, and it's going to be crowded. And all kind of things. I made a list. I don't have time to get to it. There's some things you can do that before you meet the crowds and all. And one of them would be fishing the jetties early. But there are going to be a lot of crowds all throughout here before the 4th. I just want to throw that out to you. St. Joe Bay, like I said, try to fish find those holes all through in here, these potholes. The Highland View Canal is going to be good. Put in a White City. Lake Wimico has been really hot. Got some good reports from Lake Wimico. Depot Creek is right here, flows on in. That's a beautiful creek right there. Some excellent fishing there next to Box W. We want to get down here to St. Joe Bay, and we'll again give our regards and And the folks down at East Point, we all have been following the news and all, and they just again shows you what nature can do in a rapid period of time. So do what you can to help our friends and folks down there in East Point. And I know that's a tough situation for y'all. But if you go to St. George Island, again, this backside, I had my cousin caught a lot of redfish here last week. Again, Carabel. I was going to call them this morning. I'll call them before July 4th and let you know what's going on. Remember now, July 1st, the rules are changing on grouper. But if you get out in the bay, you can fish behind St. George Island. This is a dog island here, St. George Island here. That fishing should be really good now. If you get a chance, though, we used to could drive on St. George Island State Park, but you got a long walk if you're going to do some surf fishing. But right here in this area here now, it gets crowded with the people. But they're good about it. They have some places here you can sort of walk out here and fish. St. George Island will be good fishing. The river system is going to be really good. Again, July 4th, it's going to be crowded on the river system now. Those sandbars are going to be packed up with people. But the river is going to be right. It's going to be good catfishing. Trout lining to be good. The nights are cool. You got to. I mentioned this a lot. You got to watch out for those snakes in the bushes. I'm serious now. Even at nighttime, as you're coming up, checking your hooks, and especially in the morning, if you had those hooks out and that old limb was going back and forth, you ease up to it in your boat. You want it before you reach in there and grab that stuff. You make sure that you check for snakes, because snakes are very prevalent this time of year, and they're feeding at night on these frogs. And frog gigging, they're always this time of year. Frog gigging is excellent. If you can get out there at nighttime with a gig, get a good light and shine it. And these LED lights we talked about, they're going to be very bright, and you can do some fun frog gigging with a kid also. Anyway, all these things, I'm going to talk about some of this tomorrow, a little bit more, but I was wanting to show you on the map all the things you can be doing. So keep in mind as we get back into the center right here in West Bay and all, that's going to be good fishing. All this area in here is going to be good. So I'm going to have to wrap it up. We've had a good show. We had Brad coming on tomorrow, and we'll do some drawings and for some good fresh seafood. You have a great day today. Do something good today for your fellow man. Enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.